2020, I made a video about how much I spend in a week living in San Francisco as a 28-year-old. And then a couple months later, I made a video on how much I could live off of $100 in a week, so I decided to do something different. Hey y'all, it's Ilana and welcome back to my channel. So this video is going to be quite embarrassing because I am going to be telling you how much I spend in a month living in San Francisco as a 28-year-old. If you're new to my channel, hi, welcome. I post content about what it's like to live in San Francisco. So if you're interested about moving to the Bay Area, you want to know more about what it's like to live in San Francisco, or maybe you live in California in general, who knows what your deal is, go ahead and hit the subscribe button down below. So without further ado, let's go ahead and see how much I spend in a month in San Francisco. So I want to start off by saying that Katherine did this video a couple of months ago, and I originally wanted to make this video back in February or March, but I couldn't because I was not living in San Francisco at the time since I had lost my job, had to leave San Francisco temporarily, and now I came back, so I thought August would be the best time to finally go ahead and sit down and do this video. I never ever intended to copy Katherine out. We just kind of think alike, I guess, because she also makes videos about what it's like to live in the Bay Area. So in no way, shape, or form am I stealing her idea. I guess I have to give credit to her because she did the video first, even though I wanted to post this video months before she did. So here we go. So in order to do this video, I'm gonna break it down in a couple of groups. Instead of saying on August 12th, I spent this much amount of money. On August 18th, I spent this amount of money. That would make such a boring video. So I'm gonna break it down in my fixated costs that I would typically spend every single month. And then we'll talk about everything else that I spent, and it'll be broken up into different categories. Let's just talk about everything that I already spend every single month. Let's start off with rent. Because I've been subletting my friend's room for the past few months, I have been paying $1,300. So that is how much I paid for in rent this month. And then the next biggest thing that I spend is YouTube business coaching every single month. I've been working with her for 2 years, and so it is $49 a month to work with her, and I gain so much value out of her. And I just can't give that up because she's really helped me come such a long way from where I first started. And every single month, I'm learning something new from her. Next fee that I pay every month is my Adobe Creative Cloud subscription. It costs $9.99 a month. I use this for Lightroom. This is important because everything that I transfer on my computer will go right to my phone, so I can edit it on my phone and post it to my Instagram, or I can use it to edit my thumbnails. It's just really useful to have, and if I wasn't paying for this, then nothing would transfer over for me. Lightroom would be pretty useless. And I use this basically as a business way to help me with my YouTube channel and for my Instagram. The next thing that I pay for every single month is my Apple iCloud services. This is just to give me more space on my computer and my iPhone since I'm uploading a lot of videos and pictures, which takes up most of the space on my phone, so I pay $2.99 for that. The next two things that I pay for every single month are related to my YouTube channel. So I pay for PICMONKEY every single month, which is $7.99. That is what I use to make my thumbnails and edit them. And the paid service gives you a lot more features than the unpaid version does. I can't even save the thumbnail if I'm not paying for the service, which is BS. I pay for it because it's something that benefits me in my YouTube channel. And then the other thing that I pay for in regards to my YouTube channel is my TubeBuddy subscription. I pay $7.20 for my TubeBuddy subscription. TubeBuddy allows me to find what keywords work for my channel and to see if it's a good keyword to use. Are people searching for it every single month? What's the competition like for that keyword? So it really helps me become smarter when making tags, descriptions, and titles for my videos. And then also every single month I pay for my bikini competition coach. So I spend $200 a month on a competition coach, and I simply cannot do without a coach. I cannot prepare for a competition without a coach because I'm not a health and fitness expert. I don't know what I need to tweak if something were to go wrong, so it's really nice to have somebody who makes a plan for me where I stick to that plan, and they're also there for accountability. And I personally think it's very necessary to be paying for a coach when you're going through competition prep. It's expensive, but $200 is actually on the cheaper end for a competition coach, so I feel like I got a really good deal with this. Another thing that I have been paying for every month, which will end April 2021, but I am still paying off my iPhone. I pay $41.99 every single month for my iPhone, which is through the Citizen Loan Program, whatever I did through Apple. So I'm still paying my phone off. Again, that will be paid off by April. So typically, without the next two things that I'm mentioning that were fixated for this month only, typically my fixated monthly expenses in San Francisco is $1,619.16. But unfortunately for the month of April, I had to do 2 KLARNA payments because I bought something and I used KLARNA to break up the cost down. It's one of those pay now but do it in increments over time, and then I still had to pay for a storage unit since I am subletting my friend's place and my furniture needed a place to be stored. So the storage unit is $205, and then with the KLARNA payments that I made this month, I made 2 of them. It was $102.50. So with those 2 prices being added on, my fixated price for August was $1,926.66. That is a ton of money. I'm almost hitting $2,000. Typically, that is not how much I would spend every single month. Another thing you may not realize is that I didn't mention bills and utilities in there just because I don't actually have to chip in for that. I think it's included in my rent. I'm not sure, but I don't have to pay for water, electric, or anything like that right now. So I'm pretty lucky to say that at least. So let's go on to the next set of categories and how much I really spent other than what I have to spend every single month. So this is based off what my banking app said, but we're gonna talk about bills and utilities. Basically, what that entailed was 4 different Venmo payments. There were 2 times where I had to Venmo my roommate for stuff. Then I put down a small deposit to get my hair done next month since I can't go to a salon, and so I found a person who's able to do in-home appointments, so she's going to dye my hair black for me since I have a fading problem every single time that I do it myself, and it will look nice and vibrant for my show next month, so I'm excited to get my hair dyed next month. And then I also split a CBS All Access with my friend, and that only ended up being $3, so that was really cheap because we're trying to watch Big Brother, so that's the only reason we purchased it, and once Big Brother's over, we'll cancel that subscription. And then finally, my Amazon Prime got renewed for the whole entire year, and that was a whopping $129.12. So the total that I spent on bills and utilities was $184.12. So that's not too terrible. So let's go on to the next category because this is where a bulk of my expenses came into play. So at the beginning of the month, my roommate broke his arm and I had to go to Target to get him hydrogen peroxide. So at Target, I only spent $1.19 just to get that one item, and I told him don't even worry about paying me back because it was literally $1.19. But then later on in the month, I had to go to Target again and I spent $13.60 over there. Earlier in the month, my old phone case cracked, so I bought this new phone case from KIMBYR.com. I love Kimberly if you don't know who she is. She's a great YouTuber that makes awesome anti-MLM content. I'll link her channel down below if you're interested in watching that. So I ordered that and I love it. It looks great on my phone. And that cost $19.72. So I also made 4 Amazon purchases this month. So the first purchase ended up being $19.48. The second Amazon purchase that I made was $63.27. Third one was $37.96, and then the last one was $18.43. Also, my FABFITFUN box yearly subscription renewed. That ended up being $211.57. I love FABFITFUN. I think it's worth paying that every single year. Typically, it's really around $180, but because I got an add-on, they just added that extra price on. So normally I would pay less for that, but because I wanted one other thing with the box that would cost me a little bit extra, that's what happened there. Also, when I was filming out and about that Instagram video, you remember when I posted that last week, my camera died, and I just thought it'd be best to get a new camera battery in general. So there's this really awesome camera shop in Chinatown that I like going to because you can negotiate prices there. and I ended up buying a new battery for my camera, so when one battery dies, I'll have another one ready to go to replace it. That was worth it in my end, and that ended up being pretty expensive, but it was $54.27 just for a camera battery. I know, really expensive, but it was really necessary for me. I also had viruses on my computer, so I bought a MacBook virus checker, so I purchased Combo Cleaner, and that ended up being $47.95. Finally, the last purchase that I made within the shopping category was from Nordstrom. So I shopped the Nordstrom anniversary sale. Most of the things that I wanted were pretty much sold out, so I could only buy 3 things, which I guess worked out well for me since I would have spent so much money if everything that I had was still in stock. So I got 3 items. I don't have any B-roll to show you because they still haven't come yet, but here is a picture of everything that I got. So I spent $138.55 on 3 items from the Nordstrom anniversary sale. Okay, so I basically covered everything in the shopping category, and the final total of that ended up being $626.27. Yep. Let's move on to the next category because I'm embarrassed. So for the next category is groceries. So groceries was a pretty big cost because when you're on contest prep, you have to buy groceries over and over and over again. So I believe I went grocery shopping 6 times this month. So I went to Trader Joe's twice this month. The first Trader Joe's trip ended up being $29.81, and then the second one ended up being $15.65. The other couple of grocery store trips were not actually grocery stores, but I purchased Instacarts because I wasn't able to go to the store. So I spent money on 4 different Instacarts. The first Instacart that I spent money on was $73.53. Second one ended up being $34.68. The third one ended up being really ugly, but it was $104.94. And then the last one ended up being $28.27. So that gave me a grand total of $271.23 spent on groceries for the month of August. That is really expensive, but such is prep life. What can I say? Let's go on to the tourism category. Yep, I have a travel category. Let's go. So next month I am going to Tahoe because that is where my show is. So I had to spend money on a hotel, and hotels go super fast there. They're also really expensive, but I got a really good deal on a hotel, better than the deal that my show's promoter had. So it saved me at least like $200. So I ended up finding a hotel in the Olympic Valley area for $379.74. So that was a huge purchase that I had to make. I couldn't wait until September, otherwise that price wouldn't exist. So I had to act fast. So yeah, that was a lot of money, but at least my hotel is booked and ready to go, and I can't wait to go to Tahoe next month. Oh my God, I'm so excited. All right, so let's go on to the last category. Last category is transportation. So this one's pretty embarrassing. Basically, I spent money on 7 Ubers. I'm not gonna break down the cost of every one, so instead I will just get right to the point and tell you how much I spent on Ubers this month. That total was $115.51. Yeah. Let's get to the grand total of how much I spent for the whole month of August living in San Francisco. Can we get a drum roll, please? I spent a grand total of $3,519.17. I don't want to talk about it. I know that's a lot of money. But I also want to say that I am very fortunate that I have gotten a new job that does bring in a lot more income for me, so it allows me to spend this much money and it allows me to afford this expensive life living in San Francisco. I will say I'm very fortunate that I do have a job that allows me to spend this kind of money. So my question for you is, how much do you spend in a month living in your city? Comment down below, I'd love to know. Also, if you live in San Francisco or any city in the Bay Area and you know how much you're spending in a whole month, I'd love to know your thoughts. Do you spend less than me or do you spend more than me? I'd love to know. Alright guys, well, if you liked this video and you thought it was interesting, make sure you give it a thumbs up and I will see you in my next video. Bye!